BCB Live, the safest station in the nation. Folks, we have a new champion in baseball. The Atlanta Braves take on those Houston Astros and defeat them, in a series that they won yesterday 7-0. And Atlanta, at the end of the day, really owned that entire series. Drive Safe. Did you catch any of those games?
Yeah, I caught a little bit of them. I saw a few of the Astro wins, but you know what? I think these guys were poised to
say you
win
caught a few, it means there would have been more than two. So I don't think you caught a few of those wins at all. There weren't that many wins.
There were two, but yeah, they won it in what? It took them in 6. They won it in 6, and they beat them 7-0. They blanked them yesterday.
Yeah, 7-0 blank. Atlanta wins it for the first time in a long time, 95-96. It's been a while since they've won that championship. Hey, congrats to you folks out there in Atlanta, or the Atlanta Braves fans, if there's anybody else out there. Hey, congrats to you. Who's not a Yankee fan anyway? Just makes me wonder. I mean, who is not a fan of the New York Yankees? Drive Safe Dave, a big fan of what's going on with the Maersk. We've talked about Maersk. Is it Maersk? We've talked about them many times about what they've been doing, the amount of money that they've made in this shipping industry, right? In what they've been moving from ocean on these ocean containers, charges big time, record profits all the time, and they just bought out somebody else. And this isn't their first buy, but they did buy out an air freight forwarder that's pretty much 65% air freight business.
Yeah, a German freight forwarding company, airlines. They captured several planes and customers, and are looking to add even more aircraft to the skies and increase that business as well in the air freight forwarding business. So it's pretty interesting what they've done, especially did it in Europe, did it in Germany, and looks pretty. I would say they have some buying power right now.
So they bought a company called Senator International, and who hasn't heard of Senator International? Me. I mean, who are these guys? Senator International. And you think that, well, that's just got to be. But they rolled out $644 million valuation. So they're a decent-sized company. They just, about 65% of that being air freight. Also, Maersk also announced yesterday the purchase of, while we're at it, hey, let's just buy a couple of Boeing 777s. I got nothing else to do. Let's buy a logistics company. Hey, are those 2 new planes? I'll take 2 of them over there.
Do they have chips?
So they got 2 planes that they expect to have out in 2024. Again, now that will be operated by another company that they own, their own air operation team called Star Air, that owns 15 aircraft already. Wow. So just real interesting to see some of these folks growing and growing and growing, and by the acquisitions, we're seeing a lot of that. Now, Maersk not only controls the water, they're going to start soon controlling the air as well. Air and sea, baby, all the way. And you're seeing a lot of logistics. American Outfitters, I don't know if you saw that, American Outfitters as well just announced yesterday they bought out a logistics company. So just kind of, in American Outfitters, a clothing place.
Right. Oh,
right?
no. Yeah.
A clothing place that bought out another company. I wrote this down because I just kind of saw it last minute yesterday when I was looking at the news. They buy out a company called, I don't even have it down. It's how new it is. Oh, it's called Quiet Logistics. That's why I don't know who it is. It's a quiet company. Yeah, don't tell anybody.
Yeah, don't tell
anybody. They go. They buy them out for a $350 million deal, and the reason is they need help in fulfillment, right? With the Quiet Logistics have fulfillment centers in Jacksonville, Florida, Dallas, Chicago, St. Louis, L.A., all over the place, right? And they need help moving their product in what we've seen as a logistics nightmare this year. That's probably not going anywhere next year.
No, let's just buy the power. Let's just buy the company that controls the power.
Well, I mean, but I can almost see what they're saying, right? We look at the volume right now, very high, still at 15,700 loads a day moving out. They need help moving the freight. We are, and we had a great year last year, right? During this time, a lot of freight moved. We're actually higher than we were last year at the same period. So freight continues to move up. We're going up north a little bit on that. Rejections have just gotten back to the 19, over 19% down to up to about 20.5%, 20.22. Nothing like we were last year, but freight's high, rates are even higher. And these companies, they are struggling. They're struggling to get the freight over, and when it gets over, and if they're shipping it via ship, we all know that it's getting stuck somewhere. And when it's stuck out in California right now, that creates major delays. Even when they come in California and say, all right, after Halloween, the trick's on you. We're going to charge you $100 a day in increments of $100 a day after that.
That's a lot of cash, especially the amount of containers that are stuck there, not picked up, over 7 days old, sitting there waiting. What does it go up to 9 days? And now they're hitting them at $100. So they're talking thousands, tens of thousands of containers sitting there ready to go.
58,900 containers to be exact.
That's
here.
a lot.
So a lot of freight being charged right now.
Yeah, and those are $100 a day.
That's big cash.
So now it's just, now, what do you do with that? Again, I mean, and I can tell you what happens on that. Sometimes you don't even know you're getting charged right now until you go pick that container up, and they're going to get you with a $900 surcharge.
Right.
And you're going to, I'm not paying it.
You roll to the gate, and then all of a sudden they won't release the gate until that's paid.
Yeah, and who's going to end up paying it? That's been the big argument going through. Who does that eventually go on? Who's going to actually pay that? Because this, I'll tell you, and tell you from experience, is that when they tell you they want their money, they want their money.
Right.
So when you go into these places, and we did it before, it's about 8 years ago. I remember us dropping a container that one of the drivers said, hey, I dropped it, we're good to go. Well, a month later, we get a surcharge, or we find the trailer somewhere else, and like idiots, we turn it in. All right, this trailer is beat up, and we turn it in, and then we get, okay, hey, thanks for finding that trailer, turn it in. Now you owe us $18,000. It was a container that was probably worth $6,000.
Right.
And I was like, hey, well, can I just go get it? They go, nope. As a matter of fact, if you don't pay us that $18,000 today, we're going to turn off your access to all the rails.
The UIA.
And what do you do?
Shut off.
Yeah, you get shut down, and you don't. And so somehow I was able to get a hold of somebody, negotiated it down to $12,000. It was ridiculous.
Wow.
$12,000 for a container that was broke. I should have just lost it. Should have never turned it in. I would have been better off. And that's what we're going to see probably happen when we go to these containers. When whoever picks it up, all of a sudden there's going to be a fee charged to it.
Right.
And who's going to pay to get it out? Or how does that dollar eventually get charged back to the consumer, I guess, right?
Yeah, it's going to eventually go back to the consumer. But see, herein lies some of the issues. They want a lot of these containers to be picked up. But I'll tell you, the inbounds, they're getting delayed. Super long queues going in, long lines going in, long lines getting out. And they're turning a lot of people around right at the gate so that they're in there to go get it today. Well, they try to go get it today. Well, they try to come back tomorrow and get it. So they're turning them around because there's no room to set anything down.
But America, hear me. I have your answer, and it's right here in Texas.
Tell me about it.
Leave California. Come on over to Texas. Producer, show us that little video there from our own Governor Abbott.
Are your products stuck off Long Beach? Texas ports are wide open. Port delays are up to 100 days in California. In less than 2 weeks, your cargo can set sail from California and be at one of our 24/7 functioning Texas cargo ports, unloaded and on their way to shelves near you. Choose a state that doesn't see inflation and America's supply chain backlog as a good thing. Escape California. Everyone's doing it. Choose Texas.
Escape California. Everybody's doing it. You know what? Those in Austin will probably tell you the same thing. Everybody's doing it. And you know what? Let me tell you something. When you saw the ports here in Texas, right down there, and this operating 24/7, it gave you the picture that everybody's going to be like waving to you and smiling and hey, welcome on in. Here's a margarita and all of this. It just gave you that good, warm feeling here in Texas. To come on over here. Leave California. How much did that cost in fuel to go all that way? That's a lot of fuel.
Well, I mean, are you going to sit there for 77 days? I mean, you got to burn fuel to do that too. So, I mean, it is a big trade-off. Can you can get empty and turn around and go back and get another one?
Yeah, it's an odd. It's a predicament. And you know what? If there's ports open in Texas, Texas is going to 24/7. We also talked about it. Was about a month ago about the new dredge coming in, making it go a little bit bigger, a little deeper, a little wider inside of the ports of here down here in Texas. Again, you know, we're trying to sell it, right? I mean, they're already leaving, just jump on board now. But that to me was a pretty aggressive approach to a fellow, you know, to your fellow statesman, I guess, right?
Yeah, well, there's not been a big love loss between those two states, I can tell you. And when it ever comes to whatever, whether it be business and or politics.
So do governors battle like that?
Absolutely, they battle like that. They don't, and especially if they're not even party aligned, they really go after one another. They don't, I'm telling you. Now, they do have a governor's conference, a governor's meeting, and a governor's that they come together.
They take the gloves off.
Yeah, they take the gloves off, and they all pretend to hug each other. But, boy, when they step out in front of the press, they're not nice to one another.
Well, speaking of governors, I mean, we saw it yesterday on all the news channels. Is it official yet? Do we have a new governor in Virginia?
Yeah, it's pretty impressive.
Wow.
So, and I'm going to tell you right now, not only does it make a shockwave sent around, this guy was pretty much unknown going into this race. I mean, let's be honest. Politically, he was just an unknown, and he comes in. I will lay all of this down to the statement that the former governor made in press. They overplayed it, played it again and again, where he said, basically, in a nutshell, he said, what did he say? He said, the schools parents shouldn't worry about what the schools are doing with their kids. That's what he said, and that pretty much destroyed his chances because they played on that a big deal. And it is impressive how quickly this whole swing change, and not only was he elected, but all of the people that he was aligned with in his party swept that whole deal. The
Gotcha.
lieutenant governor and everybody else, the commissioner, everybody else swept in.
So what about Jersey? Where are we at with Jersey?
It's I mean, it's too close. Too
close
close
to call at this point here.
Too close
and
to
it
call.
goes to show. I mean, we saw that last year during the election with Trump, right?
Right.
If you're aligned with Trump, there was a good chance that you may not have made it through. It was just what we saw. It just kind of depends. We see the parties go up and down based on the sentiment of what the president or what we feel the president is doing. And that's usually how it goes. And it's funny though, you know, and I guess it almost goes to show you it's been a while since we've had a president there. It seems like that every 2 years that everybody's on board. You know, it seems like we always jump to the next. All right, let's go the other way. Let's go the other way.
You know, and I'll tell you, it's real frustrating for the American people right now that a lot of what's going on in Washington is not happening, right? We see a lot of stalemates and a lot of leveraging the old party ways of, hey, I'm going to hold back my vote if you don't vote for me. That's the old way of doing things, and I know that a lot of that goes on, but seriously, we are not getting what we elected these officials to do one thing and one thing alone, and that's either vote yes or no. And they're not doing that. They're holding their votes back, and they're holding out the election.
You know, in transportation, we have optimizers, systems that can come inside your software and say, well, this is the only way to do it if you want to make the most money. I'm thinking that's where we need to go with our government. We just need to get an optimizer that just gives us the dadgum answer. You know what? Here's what's going to happen based on everything we see. This is what you need to do, and just do it. Optimizing companies swear by the same thing. The Manhattans, you know, these guys that do that, that's what they say is just follow what we say and you'll be okay. I mean, is that what we as this country need as an optimizer? A system, a robot sitting at the top, just spitting out the answers? Hey, we'll come back to you with more of that and a little bit more on BCB Live, the safest station in the nation. Welcome back to BCB Live, the safest station in the nation. Drive safe, Dave. I think we've talked about it a couple days now. when we talk about Hertz and the deal they made with
What deal?
with Tesla. The Tesla deal, yeah, exactly, right?
What deal?
You know, here we
don't
are.
know
We
anything
make the
about a deal.
announcement. We turn old Elon into a trillion, that company into a $1 trillion company, only to get that magic tweet from our buddy Elon that says what, Drive Safe?
It says nothing's. It's only no contract has been signed. This isn't a real deal. It's a big maybe.
Yeah. So that's what he says in a tweet on Monday. He goes, "I'd like to emphasize that no contract has been signed yet." That's what he's telling
Is he
us right there.
leveraging for more cash? Is that
know
what
what?
he's doing? Is he going to re-announce? Are we going to announce it again, the same deal, and the stocks go back
so
up?
his stocks go down a little bit, right? The Tesla thing goes down like 3%.
But
He's probably still doing okay. Don't worry about anything.
He's
He's
gonna be
still
fine.
okay. But oddly enough, the Hertz went up just a tad little bit on that. It's not the first time that Elon's done something like this. He has done it before. I think it was 2018. He had said something on another tweet that said, like, deal secured, funding secured is what he said. Funding secured, in which he was investigated by the Security Exchange and paid. He paid and Tesla paid $20 million each on this thing right here on a settlement. Not saying I did anything wrong, but here's $20 million from
Hey,
my
just go
company,
away. Yeah,
and here's $20 million from me. Yeah, to just go away.
Just go away. You know what? Okay, I'm good.
That is craziness right there, but it shows the power, right?
Oh.
What the power that he has, and when he talks about something like that, much like who was that spoke on the Doge or Dodgy fund or Doge coin? Who was that?
That was also Elon Musk, I think. Yeah, it's crazy. It's almost like a guy who has massive amounts of money invested in certain stock is trying to get more people to buy it. It's crazy.
It's pretty crazy that he's actually done this. Hey, did you see what he announced? What was it the other day? He announced that, hey, I'll give you $6 billion if you just tell me how you're going to spend it.
Yeah, so
that. Yeah.
he got called out by the UN because the UN was like, oh, hey, if we were to take $6 billion from, say, Elon Musk, we could solve world hunger. Which, I get the sentiment. If we were to pool together some money, we could probably solve world hunger.
He kicked back
And
quick,
so, yeah,
didn't
he came back pretty quick and was like, okay, if I give you $6 billion, will you solve world hunger?
Yeah, I
And-
want to know how you're going to do
Yeah.
this big magic deal. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah, he did call him out, and he goes, you know what? Show him, bring everything to light is kind of what he said, right? He goes, show me what your plan is. Show me where that money's going to, who's getting it, how it's going. But he didn't say I wouldn't do it.
No, he didn't.
He said,
He
show
said-
me how you're going to do it.
He actually said, I'll do it.
Yeah, I appreciated that right there where he fired right back. Hey, just show me your plan. Is it just you coming to me asking for money?
Yeah.
But it was phenomenal because it was from him and from Bezos right there asking it for him
Yeah.
a lot of money. And just phenomenal, though. Put it right back on you. This is what, you want money. Here we go. Speaking of money, that money continues to cross over in Laredo in forms of bags, snow, cotton candy. I don't know what we call it.
We call
Cocaine,
it, Texas
drugs.
is open. But I tell you,
Hey, you know what? So when Governor Abbott's saying, "Hey, go around," he's talking about the ships. He's not talking about bringing the drugs over. He's talking about bringing the ships across into our ports,
Yeah, and
not to the bridges.
Yeah, and what's a little interesting about some of this stuff that have been reported in the news lately is coming across on commercial vehicles. We're not just talking about mules running in on cars and running in. We're actually talking about it going inside the commercial vehicles out there and being laden with, in some shape up in the walls of the trailers and in different areas, and trying to smuggle drugs across the border using commercial vehicles well above just regular cars.
Yeah,
there's
51 packages valued at about $1 million. And it just, what you got there. What do you got shrink wrapped in there, sir? The canine dogs are going crazy at the border right there. They have, we have technology that kind of picks up some of this, but Drive Safe, it's obviously we can't catch everything.
No,
right?
No, we're not going to catch everything. That's
So
part
for
of the
every one of these that get
We have
busted,
no-
wonder how many actually make it.
probably
through.
10.
It's just nuts.
Yeah, it's probably 10 to 1. Probably that's the reason it's still going on. That's the reason it's business. I mean, you just if you figured, hey, my market share is up 900%, but I might lose 10% a year, would you be interested? I could say, hey, you can make 900% of what you invest, but you might lose just 10% of that.
Yeah, at the end of the day, it's all about what you make, right? Not about what you lose. That's what we see. Hey, Apple iPhone, speaking of technology, just some crazy good technology. And And what do you think about this, though, Drive? Say if the Apple iPhone's wanting to use a technology that can tell based on the G-forces that you were in an accident and auto dial that 911.
So, and I think it has to do a lot with speed too, relative, right? There's a lot going into it, not just dropping your phone and it dials 911 or running parkour in the parks or whatever, but I think it has a lot to do with traveling at a certain speed, and then it can tell when in a vehicle. Pretty interesting stuff. I think doesn't whatchamacallit already do that when the airbags are deployed? Doesn't the on-call, or what is that? The car.
I've seen the commercial where OnStar does that.
OnStar does the same thing if the airbags are deployed. Yeah, pretty interesting stuff. I guess if you don't have OnStar, I guess this is a great, a neat.
You like that technology?
I don't, if it saves a life, if it saves lives, yeah, I might be interested in it.
Okay, what else? What you think it's going to take lives? It's just your personal opinion, sir. I'm not attacking you. I'm just asking, do you like it? Do you like it or not? I mean, if it saves lives, I think it's great technology. I'll just come out and say it. I know you're scared, you don't want to cross over lines, but I love that technology that saves lives, that goes out there and has that opportunity to make a phone call. Is it scary? I don't think so. I think when technology is used to benefit where we are, right? To benefit our opportunity to call 911, to get somebody else out there, because so many times when accidents do occur, especially if you hit a tree or something like that, you pass out, no matter what the cause is, you have to wait for somebody to do that. You're unable to make that call. Technology calls it for you, and bam, we have people out. So I'm a big fan of that.
And I could be totally wrong about this because I don't fully understand the technology that they're using here. But to my understanding, they're not even using the part of the phone that tracks location in doing this. It's not about measuring like speed in terms of here and here in a certain amount of time. There's actually like a thing within the phone that is used for the compass that can help you track how.
A gyroscope.
A gyroscope, yes. Yeah, so they're using the gyroscope. There's no part of it that's like, it's not using your maps. It's not asking to use your location when you don't need to. It's just tracking the actual force on the phone, which would then call 911. So I don't think it's scary at all. There's nothing extra about it. It's like if you have a gyroscope with a phone on it.
Now, if you have somebody you shouldn't have with you in that car, run! It's already called 911. You can just see them bolting out the door, taking off. The car has already dialed 911. I better flee this scene now.
Ted Kennedy. Chappaquiddick.
Hey, we'll be right back to you in 60 seconds with BCB Live, the safest station in the nation. Welcome back to BCB Live. I'm Sir Rick, and we're slowing it down just a little bit.
Bringing it back under control.
Right
don't want to go too fast, too hard in the paint right now.
Yeah, that was
right?
a long 60-second break there, and but it bought us another minute or two closer to Buckle Up Bob. All right, so let's just dive into it. Gary Patterson. I was driving down the road yesterday. I see a sign over at a restaurant that says, Gary Patterson will always be our coach. And I'm just saying, no, he's not. Why do you have that up on a sign? He'll always be our coach. No, he's not right now. He is not your coach.
He's not Santa Claus, right? He's not going to be back next year. He's not coming back.
But I know there's a lot of fans. Again, for those of you that don't know, Gary Patterson, coach of TCU. Have they had a winning season? I mean, have they been any good in the last 6 years?
I think it's 3. It's been like 3-4 years.
I think it's been at least 6 years.
Has it really?
I tell you, it's been a while since they've been pretty good. I mean, it's been a while since they've been decent. All right, it's been a while. I don't know when LaDainian Thomas, how long has it been since they've been good? But he's out as their coach, and I guess that's news. It's local news for sure.
Yeah, out of Florida.
But I'm not a big TCU fan anyway. So, but if you don't win, you tend to get ousted. That's just a fact, right? In what we do, and it's a fact in everything I think we do. Producer.
Yeah, I was going to say definitely not too big of a surprise considering the last 3 seasons. TCU has failed to eclipse the 7-win mark, and they were actually 3-5 this season with a 1-4 record in the conference. And even though he's been there for 20 years and has established his place as the TCU coach, sometimes you just take too many hits on the chest. Even, Ted Lasso can't pull together this team, it doesn't seem like.
Yeah,
need
a new recruiter.
Yeah, there's only so much you can do. And again, his biggest chances, I think that conference will get a little weaker as OU and Texas leave that conference, right? He's in the Big 12.
Yeah, I think there's talks of them moving to the ACC, right?
I don't know. They need to leave out probably maybe the American. I can't see them going to ACC.
I think I read somewhere that they were talking
Atlantic Coast Conference.
Yeah, I think they were talking. If I'm not mistaken, they were talking them and SMU and North Texas. I'm almost even North Texas was talking.
I'm going to go fact check right now.
Okay.
We have an opportunity to fact check right now. It just seems odd that the Atlantic Coast Conference would be after Texas teams. Kind of goes against their conference name. That's all I got to say. It just seems a little weird.
Okay, let's fact check because I think I read that. I think I read that somewhere.
It could be. No, I mean, these conferences are doing a crazy realignment right now. Everybody's reaching for everybody right now because if you're not in the SEC at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. Anyway, it's SEC or bust. That's a fact. Hey, drive safe, Dave. Let's talk a little bit, though, about some safety stuff. I know we got Buckle Up Bob just around the corner, but, as we get into this weather right now, as it's a little rainy across the country, it's a little bit cooler across the country. Heck, we know we got snow at some places already. We've got to make sure that we're allowing ourselves the space and we're allowing ourselves to really get out and do that pre-trip. Our get out and look streaks, they continue. We love those sayings, all of that. Everything you do out there on the road, it does require action. And you got to believe it and you've got to do it. There was a commercial yesterday, and I'm gonna find that commercial. We're gonna play that, but it was kind of cool. It was talking about action. It was talking about our heroes. And do you realize that you really are a hero? I mean, do you know that what you do out there really does matter? If you haven't learned that this year, you're not listening. Every company, everything we see is about logistics. It's about what you're doing out there on the road. It's about how we need you on the road. It's our time as heroes to act like heroes. And we see videos, Drive Safe Dave, yesterday of vehicles, passing on the ride or not merging like they should. Those aren't acts of heroes. And we've got to make sure that we're going above and beyond our call of duty to drive safe and always protect life.
Yeah, and we're going to continue to talk about adverse weather conditions, especially as we change seasons and we get into the winter seasons and the winter months. Let's be real. I mean, we talk about speed and space, but really what needs to happen is you need to slow down in these moments, and that's how you increase space. That's how you give yourself a better opportunity in the moment, in the time, by just backing off, getting off that cruise, getting off that moment, taking that moment to back off and giving yourself that 1 second advantage over what you see going on around you. 1 second advantage that whatever you had a minute ago or whatever you had coming into, whenever you enter into these adverse conditions, whether they be construction, traffic, weather, moments of indecision, anything going on around you, can you just imagine how much more you can win by giving yourself 1 more second advantage by just backing off for a minute?
Yeah, backing off, keeping them eyes moving, knowing your surroundings. We talk about that all the time, is knowing what's around you. If you take our last 2 accidents, you know, that anybody's been involved with, any of the companies that watch this show, what we've seen is this. We had a minor one. It's still an accident, about 10 miles an hour in an intersection, construction zone, people waving you over, and we're not, but just because somebody tells you to go over, you still have to look and make sure it's time to go, right? We had that one. We had another one where we moved over to the right lane and there was a vehicle in our blind spot, and we've got to make sure that that blind spot's addressed. So we're taking, because you can't drive. So you tell me, how do you safely make a turn if you're blind in an area, if you don't know?
You don't. And you do what you can to ensure you undo that blind spot. You lean forward in the seat and you look over the hood. You find ways to identify those blind spot areas, whether it means changing your speed for a moment.
Yep.
So if you're running alongside somebody, if you quickly change your speed or you back off for just a second, they'll move up or they'll move back or what have you. But you've got to find good ways, because you don't want to enter into anything blind. Just when we talk about get out and look, you don't want to back up blind. You don't want to change lanes blind. You don't want to turn blind. You don't want to do ways in which you can't see what you're doing, and that's what you're talking about, finding those blind spots and identifying what's out there before you move over.
All right. Hey, thank you for that. Drive safe, and give us that phrase that pays before we get to Buckle Up Bob.
Winter weather can make you a fool. Slow down and play it cool.
Amen.
You're watching BCB Live, the safest station in the nation. BCB Live covers freight. Here we are now at 21% of record freight being rejected. News over the UK, they have the Army personnel getting ready to start driving the fuel trucks. Weather, traffic.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Welcome to some traffic and weather with Buckle Up Bob.
And most importantly, safety.
You can do many things to communicate that you are slowing down. You can flip your hazards on.
Expect craziness like this all the time.
75% of these fatal accidents involving these trucks are with the first 2, and it's the driving too fast and tailgating. If this driver hadn't slowed down, this could have been a whole different outcome.
Tune in weekdays from 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. Central Standard Time. You can watch BCB Live through LinkedIn, YouTube, or Facebook. So what are you waiting for? Subscribe today and follow BCB Live.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Welcome. It's Buckle Up Bob this morning, and we're going to take a quick look at the weather and some traffic to start us off. And as you can see, we start with the DFW area, Fort Worth and Dallas, and there is a lot of red, a lot of accidents. It is raining. And again, folks, I just can't understand why we ignore the rain, right? Nobody slows down in the rain. They slow down in all other weather conditions usually, but they will not slow down in the rain. And you just have to. The rain is probably more dangerous because it happens more often, and we seem to take it for granted. And again, that's what's happening according to the forecast or the news stations this morning around the DFW. So if you're coming in, better pack your patience because you're not going anywhere. And if you get a little moment where you get to go, you're going to stop in a few miles. So as you can see, the entire loop around DFW is congested with accidents and slow traffic due to the weather. And again, coming into and out of the Fort Worth area as well. So folks, if you're in the Dallas Fort Worth area, slow down, pack your patience. You're not going anywhere quickly anyway. As we move up to Kansas City, Kansas City even has a few little slowdown areas here on 70 on the eastern side by north of Raytown. But the rest of the loop looks pretty good in your Kansas City area. Just a few spots where you might have a 5-minute slowdown. The big one's going to be here between Blue Springs and Raytown, right inside the 470 loop in the Kansas City area. We look at Chicago. Chicago's looked pretty good all week, and again, doesn't look bad coming in from the Indiana. The 355 loop outside, 90 looks good. A little bit right here on the 55 up by Oaklawn, as you can see, and that's going to be coming in towards northbound lanes. But the rest of Chicago, the loops look pretty good as you come into the Chicago area this morning. Philadelphia, whoa, Philadelphia is got everything going on, it looks like. Turnpikes are backed up, 476. 95 looks pretty good for the most part there along the river. Just up here in the northern part by Cheltenham, just northeast of the Philadelphia area. And then over on the Jersey side, we've got a lot of slowdowns coming in from 42 and a little section here splitting off with 295. So if you're in Philadelphia today, slow it down a little bit too. A lot of traffic in the area. Atlanta's got a lot of downtown traffic, but we don't have to worry about that because you're not allowed to go that way. But as you can see, the northern loop, again, congested almost all the way around. Coming in from the east at Stonecrest, Georgia, you've got some traffic slowdown, and also coming in from the west there by the this airport out here, just north of Sandtown, Georgia, you're going to have some slowdowns, about a 20-minute delay, it looks like, in that area. Nashville don't look too bad. The typical slowdowns, you've got 24 coming down here coming up from the southeast, and then always this merger point up here at 65 and 24 up by Parkwood Estates. You're going to have some slowdowns right as you come into the city, also on a 24-40 split, and a little bit of a slowdown back here on the eastern side of Nashville as well. Baltimore again, the entire northern loop looks really congested. Southern loop doesn't look too bad, and extending down into the DC area, not too bad of slowdowns, maybe some 10-15 minute slowdowns. But once you get in the DC area, the loop looks pretty congested up in the northern part by Silver Spring, and again down here by Oxon Hill and Alexandria. And as always, the highway coming up here, 95 coming up into the DC area, also expect some delays there as well. All right, we're going to look at some weather. We got, as I said, we got some storms, or not storms, but some rain moving into the area coming through. It started last night, and we had to be out too, and it was just amazing how, I told my wife she was driving, and I said, watch the spray. If you see that big spray, you got the big risk of hydroplaning, and people just aren't slowing down. We just don't respect the rain, and we have to. So if you're in the Dallas area in Arkansas and actually moving up into Memphis, as you can see, you're going to have some showers this morning. You've got to slow it down. Remember, drivers out there, we all have a higher standard or view of our talents than what we really can do in most cases. So if you think slowing down 5 miles an hour is good, you probably need to take it another 5 or 10, and then you're probably going to be closer to what is the safest speed. You should be that 10% to 15% under the posted, and that's usually around a 10 to 15 mile per hour reduction in the speed, just to be safe. It all depends on the weather. Remember, as you go into the underpasses, there's going to be little dips there, and that's where there's going to be a lot of ponding that happens a lot of times as you go under these overpasses. As we will have some bad news, but let's get to the good news, and that's the wind is still not kicking up at all. And as we go through our week, you can see not much going on this afternoon as we go through. And again, tomorrow, a little bit of wind starts to creep in on the northwest coast there, but you can see that it kind of mushrooms and then starts to die down as you go into the evening hours tomorrow. And then on Friday, we get a little bit of wind start to drop in from the north in the Dakotas area and parts of Wyoming. And then that will dissipate. What I really want to show you is we want to be ready. In the next 10 days or so, we can look at the new snow forecast. And so the Northwest, we are going to get hit hard next week. So we want to be prepared for that. It's going to be around the 13th, but we start to see some of that coming in the Northwest. So it's you heard Sir Rick and Drive Safe Dave talk about this morning. We have to be ready for the winter weather. It's coming, folks. It's already November. We've actually dodged some bullets. Usually we have some major snowstorms out here in the Northwest, and we haven't really seen that. Now the temperatures, these are going to be mainly overnights because the forecast for the temperatures is supposed to be in the low 40s and upper 30s during the day for the highs in them areas. So it should help a little bit, but in the overnight areas, you're going to get some really bad icing and some heavy snowfall as we go through. Our rain, as we go through today, you can see it moves out of the Dallas area and down into Houston. So if you're in South Texas, you're going to expect some potential strong storms around the Houston area later today. This is at 6 p.m., the forecast. Rest of the country looks pretty good. And yes, you can see some snow up there in the Great Lakes area. So, folks, winter weather is right around the corner. Hey, we'll take a quick break and we'll be right back with some safety.
Welcome back to BCB Live, the safest station in the nation. Buckle up, Bob. I heard the weather report, and I couldn't just help but think, your poor wife. I mean, you're always grading her, and it seems like she's always driving you around, too. And you're sitting there, and you've got to be the worst backseat driver in the history.
No, it actually ain't that bad. She actually made a comment that says, hey, you know what? There are so many things I didn't know. And I said, you know, they're probably going to laugh at work because I said it just doesn't shut off when I go home. I said, but yeah, I look over, I said, hey, good job, 60 miles an hour and a 70 miles long because it was pouring. But then she started tailgating, and so I was like, Jan, what's going to happen if they stop?
She's like, oh, yeah, Bob, there's just so many things I didn't know.
Yeah. I agree.
Why isn't Bob driving since he's the expert? I'm just saying, why isn't he driving?
You've got to train. Sir Rick's always saying you got to train people up, you know.
You know, and I wonder how much sarcasm's in that too, right, producer? What he was saying, like, "Oh, Bob, you're so smart."
No,
oh,
she
Bob,
doesn't say
you know
that.
what? You're
the
so
best.
safe.
Yeah, tell me
It's
more.
probably a little sarcasm in that buckle up.
No,
Bob. I'm just saying.
No. There's a lot of humility on my part because I have to always start and say, hey, you know, I did all this till I saw the videos from our
There's
drivers.
a lot of humility on my part.
There is.
I too was once like you.
That's right. I once too was as bad. That was one of them backhanded compliments.
Wow.
You know, I used to be as bad as you.
Oh
You
man!
know,
So Bob, buckle up, Bob. We talked a little bit about drugs and you know, yesterday when you're off about the you know, the testing and everything like that. We talked about the big you know, over in at the bridge of Laredo there. We had a big cocaine bust there. We talk about all the drugs. We can't do drugs while we drive. We can't do anything. We got to watch all of that, right? And including, you know, over-the-counter medicine as well. What do you have on store for us today?
Yeah, today we're going to talk about the driver fitness category. And again, good news, we are at 0, and it should be. Many of these are very easily to be at 0, folks. And what that is, you know, the driver fitness is basically your CDLs and your physical cards, right? You just should have them updated. That's typically what's going to be in the driver fitness. And again, the drugs, you got to report this stuff. We can help. We've had some situations in the past where drivers have almost failed tests because of the fact that they didn't report something. And they supposedly took it. There was just traces because they took it and they drove after 48 hours. And most of these drugs that are tested, you gotta be not driving for 72 hours after you take that last pill. And so again, just avoid the headaches and because a lot of good drivers can be really sabotaged by this a little bit by their own not reporting. We're here to help you, and we can help you by you reporting that, and we can let you know, hey, if you're going to take this, you can't drive for 72 hours till you take the last one.
Yeah, so buckle up, Bob. When we talk about driver fitness, I know when we hear this, we feel like they're going to get out and mark a 40 yards. All right, let me see how fast you got. Let me see some push-ups. Let me see some jumping jacks. You got to do something. Driver fitness isn't measuring that at all.
No.
Tell us exactly what the fitness is measured.
They really just look for the CDLs. If your CDL is current and registered, or your medical card is registered with the state, and that's really what they're looking for the fitness.
Had some people like, woo, Woo-wee. Well, I thought they were going to make me run today. No mile times, nothing like this. You got 6 minutes to finish this mile. Go.
Yeah,
Nothing like that.
No, and I'll tell you that most of the drivers for years, the officer never asked for just your driver's license. It's always wanted to see, let me see your driver's license and your medical card. It was like just one and the same, and you had to hand both of those over.
Yeah, and again, many carriers, this should be one of their best. I believe there's been 382 inspections and with 0 for the fleet. So just it's very simple. Just keep it up together and don't drive without it.
And by the way, have you looked at it lately and see when it expires? Because you just just take it out, take a look at it, make sure you know when it expires. It's really strange that we sometimes we think we know or we think we remember. Just take it out, take a peek at it, make sure, oh yeah, that expires on December. Make sure you always know when your driver's license expires and when your health card expires, because you just want to keep them up to date. And the only way to do that is check them every now and then. That should be kind of part of your pre-trip.
Yeah, and one of the tips I've heard from the drivers over the years is they make copies of their CDL
Absolutely.
and put that in a permit book. So if you happen to get in a hurry and you rush out of the house and you don't have it, you still have a copy for yourself that you don't have to lose that productivity and you're still compliant. So, hey, maybe a good idea if you don't have one, make a copy of each one of those and put them in your permit book. So that if you don't have them on you in your wallet or you lose your wallet, you're still good to drive and can get back home.
Yeah, and two, if it expires, it's a lot easier to white out on a copy than it is on the real license. So remember that. Another tip from Sir Rick.
Wow, let's not do Photoshop.
Let's not do that.
Let's not do that.
We got some videos that are just, a couple of them starting out as just alarming. Folks, there's no out here. Tailgating 68 miles an hour. There's nowhere to go. This is dangerous, right? I mean, you're going straight down or you're over that Jersey barrier wall, but you just have to back off, pack your patience. The driver got off right there, and then you're in good shape here. Next one's going to be kind of the same thing. You're in traffic, right? Back off. This is tailgating. Folks, this is about a second right behind it, and then it's going to get worse as everybody kind of checks up. So, again, just slow it down and back off of it.
So one more time, at going 65 miles an hour, how many seconds should we be behind that vehicle?
We should be at a minimum of 3 to 4 seconds.
3 to 4 seconds using white lines is roughly what?
Is about 10 to 15 of them.
Because we're 2 to 3 right now, right?
Exactly.
So you want to be 7 to 10. You want to be in that range a lot more than you do the 2 to 3. It's too close, and that's where we're telling you to use different things for for a sign. Use a car. Use those white lines to help you identify how far you really are behind.
Yeah, 10 of them is 400 feet. And if you're traveling 100 feet per second, there's your 4 seconds. So you need to be in that, 9 to 10 line range.
And it really benefits you by counting. It doesn't matter if you're doing 68 or if you're doing 55 or if you're doing 41. Mm-hmm. It's always the same. If you count, you'll be at the right distance every time. If you get to 3 seconds, 3 to 4 seconds, you're going to be at the distance needed. It doesn't matter what speed you're traveling. That time frame is what you need.
Yes, correct. Because you're counting behind the vehicle in front of you. So
that's correct.
10 lines is 10 lines. If they're going slower, then you're going slower, but you're still 10, which is 4 seconds behind them. Here, again, this is just dangerous by the OV. You got to keep your head on a swivel. Pay attention to your mirrors. You heard Sir Rick this morning. Look around. Passing in a no passing zone and into a curve. I mean, this is just crazy. At first, I thought this video was the Amish guy coming out of the side again.
Yeah, so when you catch yourself with something like this, buckle up, Bob, too. I don't know what we did or what this driver did on this at all, but we want to make sure we back off the speed to allow the person, whether it's right or wrong, the success or the opportunity to be successful in this crazy move they're doing. In other words, we want to make sure that we protect their life, and that may mean we've got to slow down.
Yeah, right. There's a lot of times when trucks or what have you, when they get over there and they start to pass, once they're out there, it's up to you to allow them in quickly. And the only way to do that is once they're out there, just let off the gas.
Suck the pride up a little bit. It's not right. What they're doing is wrong, but yet do the right thing and let them in. And again, we let them in here. Great job on this, but when you see craziness out there, I know we don't want to encourage it, but nothing happens if we were to speed up and something bad happens here. So great job on that.
Again, intersections, got to be prepared to stop under the speed limit, but this driver is not preparing to stop. You don't see any slowdown, and then you have to slam on the brake, right? Hey, it's an intersection, folks, and you're going to see right there why you have to slow down. Imagine that being happening from the other direction. So again, you have to slow down and be prepared to stop. Don't put yourself in a point of no return, as many have said it, or commitment, where you must be committed. Good job being able to stop. That probably was because of doing under the speed limit, but kind of start slowing down and prepare. The light is going to change. You have to just assume that many times what you see in the videos is drivers assume the light's going to stay green, and that mentality has to be reversed. You have to assume the light's going to change on you on these stale greens. And we got the same thing here. Again, this driver's doing a great job. Look at that. Red for a long time.
Yeah.
Oh, can you imagine? That was way back there, and there comes that vehicle. Just a little bit, the timing is
A
everything.
little cautious. Notice they were a little
Yeah,
cautious.
They're all a little cautious. It's almost like
now-
they're at a four-way stop sign, right? They're all stopping. Isn't that, that's kind of weird. They're all stopping, right? They really
Well,
are.
they got a glimpse of this guy and said, okay,
whoa, let's
is
just
this
go.
truck, is this truck going to do
This
that?
guy's like, wait a second.
Yeah,
Oh,
and if you
no.
watch the video at the beginning, they start moving forward, and then this guy blows through, and everybody stops, and then they keep rolling forward. So
these are
they
one
were
of
in
those
the middle of.
dangerous areas because their light is way back there. It's kind of like a double light. I've seen them in certain areas of Texas where you got to stop back there, and then you got to proceed through this intersection a little bit further
Did he
up.
run the light up there as well?
Yes. I couldn't tell if it was.
I mean, come
It's
on.
green.
I mean,
It looks like
hey,
right
great
now.
job to the big truck doing the right thing, slowing down. A great stop at a stop. I mean, I know we take it for granted that if it's red, you should stop, but
Did
we've got to
flash-
stop.
Did we flash the traffic to the left with our flashers? I mean, with our lights. Did we hit the high beam for just a second? Did we?
Yep,
Yeah.
right there.
Yeah, letting the other traffic know there's something coming.
Good job. So I like to end them with the good ones. And then here, this is what it's all about, folks. This is what you don't want. Looks like an early morning thing, and there's a truck accident up here. And great job getting over, slowing down, letting the emergency people do their jobs. There you can see the truck at the very end there. But got to slow down.
Yeah, them. When it comes to, when the emergency vehicles are out there, we've had some of the police chiefs on here, fire chiefs on here. It's dangerous for them. They realize that when an accident happens on a highway, that their lives are also quickly put in danger, and we've got to make sure that we do the right thing, slow down, right? And when you do that, you're slowing everybody else down behind you. So do the right thing, control that speed. Let's make sure that we're giving everyone an opportunity to live another day and to go home to their family.
Yeah, if you get a chance, I know there's a lot of disco lights going on out there, but it sure will add to the warning if you, while you're slowing down and you see this, throw your flashers on, let everybody know behind you, because they can't see around your tail if they're close behind you. So it's good to let everybody know what's going on and give them an idea that there's danger ahead.
Hey, producer, give us a couple of callers here.
Yeah, first up, we got a question coming in from Tommy Jones. So he wants to know, how early can a driver get a medical physical for their CDL?
Oh, they can do it at any time.
Yep.
You can do it 30 days, 60 days if you want. I mean, there is no limitation on when you can go get it done.
Yeah, it just extends from that point 1
Yes.
year once you're approved.
All right, good stuff. And then we also have two callers. First up, we got David Mason, and then we'll have Jerry Strevel. So what do you got for us, David?
Morning, Mr. Mason.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, I just wanted to explain a little bit. That one where the slam on the brakes at the yellow light, that was me yesterday in Pennsylvania. If you'll notice that pickup, okay, see the prime truck. The prime truck was wanting to turn into Flying J. That pickup truck had actually come off the ramp of 81, and there was a stop sign. They ran the stop sign and then tucked in behind me, and I watched them go over to the left lane behind Prime. Prime turned into the car turn lane to go to Flying J, and then whipped back out, because that right before the stoplight, you'll see that the vehicles lined up for the truck turn lane to go into the truck area. Well, when Prime whipped back out, I knew that truck was over there to my left, so I looked in my left mirror to make sure when Prime whipped back over, he didn't force that truck into my tandems. And then so I was kind of watching that situation, and when I turned back around, the light had turned on me. and I didn't want to run through the red light. So I did have to slam on my brakes, but I was a little bit distracted by what that pickup that you see go through the light after I stopped and run a stop sign on the right. I was kind of watching what they were doing, and it kind of caught me off guard there.
Yeah, and that stuff happens, right? And that's one of the things where, again, these videos are to learn from, and so we understand all that goes on. And so the thing here is, hey, when you've got to be watching multiple things, start letting off that gas and slowing down a little bit more so that you have that reaction time for exactly what can happen on you. David, great feedback on that. Appreciate that.
Yeah, sometimes you're just going to have to hit the hard brake. And it's okay. I mean, it's gonna signal out of a flag, right? And it's you know what? We still protected life, right? And I want to make sure we understand that. We don't want to not hit that brake, so we just go through the light and nobody just knows about it, right? We still have to do the right thing. We want to protect life. Hey, Jerry, good morning to you.
Hi. Good morning. 412 westbound in Colorado, they got an accident. The road shut down, but they are getting you off at the exit and detouring you. It'll probably be closed down for a while.
That'll work. 412, Colorado shut down.
Yeah, 412 mile marker. They're getting you off at the ramp and detouring you. There's something caught on fire, and they just got the road shut down.
They're on 70.
Gotcha. Stay off the 420. Just
cops
another
are
helpful
there.
advice from Sir Rick.
Yeah, emergency vehicles are all there, so. But I just wanted to report it in case somebody's coming that way.
I was thrown off for a minute. I thought he was talking about US 412, and it runs in Boise City.
No, huh?
Yeah, that's a little bit lower than
Colorado. Oh, yeah, 412 mile marker. I'm sorry.
There you go. I like that. All right.
There you go. Yeah, all right.
Where'd you see that?
Yeah.
And we're getting ready to do a well check on you real
Yeah,
quick.
we're
Make sure
gonna
you're
do a
all right.
well
There we
check.
go. Yeah, 170. Yeah.
10-4.
But I wanted to let you guys know just in case somebody's heading this way.
Thank you.
All right,
Thanks,
we do
Jerry.
appreciate that. Great feedback, great comments, and you know what? It's phenomenal what we continue to do here at BCB Live, and that's to gain additional callers, to gain additional viewers for one reason only, and that's because each and every one of you that join us, you have a passion for that safety. You have a passion for protecting life out there. You realize that you truly are a hero, and we all, just because we're heroes, we just need a little bit of help, right? I mean, we need to get together. We need to band together as, as that club to strengthen one another. Iron sharpens iron to sharpen our skills in what we do every day. And it doesn't mean, let's face it, you're going out to battle today. And some of you right now are driving, you're in a battle right now. You're in the traffic battle. You have battles at home. You have battles with finances. You have battles with health. There are battles all over the place. And yes, we want you somehow through all of that to remain focused on what you're doing, to remain focused on protecting life. Man, you are a blessing to this country. You're our heroes. We need you out there. And we want to do all we can to make sure that we all stay focused on our day-to-day job. Hey, thank you for what you do. Buckle up, Bob. You want to close us out with a prayer?
Yes, sir. Dear Heavenly Father, Lord, we come to you today with just lots of thankfulness and gratitude for these men and women out there that just put their lives at risk every day, Lord. And we ask that the drivers around them use common sense and help protect life, Lord, that they see what they're doing out there and they learn from that and slow down. Just slow down and protect the precious life. Lord, again, we want you to continue to wrap your loving arms and give the strength to our dear brother Larry Graham out there as he battles this illness. Lord, give him the strength and the faith and the hope in you, Heavenly Father. Lord, we ask all of this in your Son's name. Amen.
Amen. This is BCB Live. We're the safest station in the nation, but we can't do it without you. Make it a safe one. Make today the safest day you've ever driven. Make today the day you make it happen. God bless each and every one of you. We'll see you this afternoon.